Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So this week's feature match was Plutomon versus Titamon, the new purple Titamon with the new Plutomon. Yes, I say new because we have Wizardmon now for purple, and it changes the game absolutely for how purple is played, or at least how it can be played. Don't forget our memory marker this month is the Egg of Courage. This is the last week to get one of these guys. This is our Patreon reward for the month of October. So if you've been seeing the reveals for all the armor evolutions, you know you're going to want to get your hands on one of these guys because this thing is unbelievable. The paint job is one of the best we've ever had on the channel before. So if you're excited for some for BT8 when it comes around, go ahead and order one of these guys now so that way you're going to be ready. Also, if you'd like any of our previous memory markers that we've had on the channel, check the coffee link in the description below. There you can find all of our previous memory markers with a few updates to some of them. The only benefit of going through Patreon, though, is that you get the memory marker a whole month early before it ever even goes live for sale on coffee, as well as you can get them a bit cheaper depending on the memory marker just because of the complexity, and Patreon is always there for our loyal members to stay the same no matter the price of the memory marker. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this deck profile and just going to try to explain it the best I can as we go through it of my crazy like neurotic thinking on a lot of this. I was heavily inspired by Zenitsu's build that he put out, and it definitely lit a fire in me to finally get out there and play some Plutomon myself. So first up, we got Demi-Meramon at a 1-of. Oh my god, it's finally happened. Demi-Meramon has been dethroned from the #1 egg. The on deletion, draw one, trash one. We now have Sunomon here, and Sunomon essentially is kind of similar. This one is just your turn, once per turn. When you trash a card in your hand, draw one. So if you have another effect that's a draw one, trash one, that'll trigger Sunomon here to draw an additional time. So he kind of turns all of your draw one, trash ones, or draw something, trash something, into a bonus draw, which is, I think, way better than Demi-Mera, which is just a single draw one, trash one, and it's on deletion, whereas this Sunomon can be sitting out there underneath something else, and then something else discards, triggers a discard effect, and you get to activate the Sunomon. So you get multiple Sunomons out there. A single discard from your hand will trigger all of those Sunomons to draw. So definitely liking the Sunomons absolutely now. Totally awesome. And then going right into that, we've got the Gabumon here from the starter deck instead of the on deletion Gabumon. Since we're not maxing out on the Demi-Meras anymore, then I felt like a switch to the Gabumon because this Gabumon is really nice, and it's when attacking, draw one, then trash one in your hand. So when attacking, that puts it in our control. We don't have to rely on it dying to trigger that draw to discard one that the previous Gabumon had, and it was only on deletion, so it kind of became a problem. With a blocker, it was okay, but this puts it in our own hands. So even if our Digimon survives, we still get all these draw, trash, draw again for Sunomon. It works really great with the new Sunomon. Takes the deck, instead of constantly trying to fill up our trash, we're just being more offensive, and we don't have to worry about losing our own things on field as much anymore. Going on from there, though, we got the Labramon. This is the on-play draw one, trash one. So again, if you have a Sunomon that you promoted up underneath a different, like a Gabumon or something like that, and then you slam down the Labramon to draw one, trash one, you're gonna trigger that Sunomon there. Also, we've got 3 Gazimon. So Gazimon is the memory blocker for purple, and this format, I bumped all my memory blockers up to 3, where they're applicable for the color they're in, and that's just because of the decks we're playing against. Blue, the Gabumon, Bond's Gabumon, is going to be so heavily played. Absolutely, it's going to be played. I mean, there's argument over how good it actually is or isn't, but it's still like top tier with several other decks. And blue has 3 different memory gaining options that it's playing. It's got the new blue memory boost, it's got howling memory boost, as well as just good old hammer spark that's just one deck. We have Jesmon. You know, all the colors, they now have their memory boost card, right? Their color memory boost. And as in addition to that, Jesmon also has like Noir or CL that's going to gain them memory. So that's just two of the most played decks right there, gaining memory. So being able to shut those off is super important. But just turning off all the memory boost. Now that everyone has memory boost, I think every deck is going to be playing it in some form or fashion in some quantity. So being able to turn that off is really, really important. Next, we got, in this build, I've got Sukaimon. At the end, I'm going to show you a variant of another build that I've got where we have this. This is kind of a flex spot, I would say, in the build for rookies on just kind of what you prefer. I was going in and looking at my rookie build up here. Gabumon is going to be my ideal target to Digivolve on top of my eggs, but I needed something else as a secondary to Digivolve on top of my eggs. Gazimon works, but often whenever I'm in the situation where I need Gazimon on field, it's in the heat of the moment, like you see the memory boost on your opponent's side of the field, and you're like, okay, I know he's about to activate it next turn. I'm just going to slam down this Gazimon to pass my turn, turn that off. So he's kind of like an on-play rookie in my mind, so as well as the Labramon, of course. So in addition to the Gabumon, I felt like I needed another good source that I could Digivolve on top of my eggs with, and Sukaimon just was one of the only ones that had a nice inheritable that really, like, I felt like I liked, and just that on deletion gain 1 memory. I've been on this really big kick of playing the purple Kari, where, you know, if you lose a security, you can suspend her to gain a memory, so you can actually pull it off of your opponent's turn. So say they're, you know, like 0, they put themselves at 0 and they start swinging, you know, she pulls it back to your turn. Sukaimon, just kind of that same situation of, you know, if they delete a blocker or something like that and it forces the turn back over to you. Really, really cool stuff. Next up is Wizardmon, and this is what I was talking about earlier. He is an enabler, okay? He is our new big level 4 that we absolutely, he is an essential piece that we want to Digivolve our main stack onto. And what I mean by main stack is, I mean what you intend to put your level 6 on top of. Some stacks, they just stop at level 4. You know, you get your blockers out there or whatever, and they're just going to sit there. Wizardmon, you should probably not Digivolve a blocker on top of Wizardmon, because you're going to ideally want to go all the way up into your Mega. So, your turn, once per turn, when you use an option card, gain 1 memory. And that's what this whole thing is about. Plutomon, if you're not aware, when you Digivolve, you can draw 2 cards and then play an option, 6 costs or less for free. He's a 4-cost Evo, so even with a memory fixer, you normally pass your turn. Now with Wizardmon, we can gain 1 memory back, and it keeps it on your turn at 0. So that is what makes this whole deck, makes Plutomon so much better. I've always really felt like Plutomon could have some crazy good potential. It was just almost there all the time, but that 4 Evo cost was just so steep for me all the time. I hated it. So Wizardmon basically kind of just makes it all so much better. If you saw the Dynasmon profile from last week, again, Wizardmon in that deck also just making these 4-cost Evos so much better now, so much more live, and make you willing to play them now. So loving Wizardmon for sure. Next we got Valmont. This is our 6000 DP blocker. I've been harping on it pretty much in all my videos for the past few weeks. I've switched over my blockers back to the old 2 Evo cost 6Ks, just because I'm just tailoring towards the meta. I'm not tailoring towards making the deck itself optimal. I'm tailoring it to what I expect the meta to be. And I expect the meta to be at least by itself 50% Jesmon. Just out the gate, 50% Jesmon, absolutely. And it's important because Jesmon can delete 5,000 DP or less when it attacks. So keeping your blocker on field for that is so crucial. Jesmon itself will clear all your security. It's the follow-up that they try to win with, that you need your blocker to have survived the Jesmon swing so he couldn't delete them, so that way he can stop the game-winning punch. When they go, you know, Blitz Omnimon for game, you know, you've got your Valmont there to block that. Say they go Agunimon on top of a Tamer and try to swing that way, you know, you got your Valmont to stop that. And that's absolutely important is keeping your blockers around for an extra turn, as well as just all those DP minuses. I know there's people still going to try to make Lord Nightmon work. Lord Nightmon can clear 5,000 DP blockers pretty easily, but 6,000 is just difficult enough that it's a real pain. Like, a whole lot of commitment has to go in for Lord Nightmon to clear these guys with DP minusing. So 4 of as our main blocker again. Next up, we got the brand new Genkakumon Promote. There's multiple Genkakumons, and this one is just really good. It's one of the best cards to come out of this set for purple. Absolutely. It's used in tons of builds because it is so dang powerful. It is a level 4 with Rush, and that's pretty much the most important thing. Is it's all about playing this guy for free, like out of the trash or something like that. There's tons of different decks with tons of different ways to do it, but it's all about bringing this guy basically out of trash for free, and then he has Rush to immediately swing and kind of get you the game. It's kind of like Bushi for game. You're always trying to get Bushi out for free, so that way he can use his Rush ability. Same exact premise for this guy here. On play isn't really that big a deal. You may place one Kinkakumon and or one Genkakumon from your trash in this card's Devolution cards in any order. If you place 2 cards with this effect, trigger draw 1 and gain 1 memory. That's cool, but the setup required is just too... I don't like it. You have to play these 2 other cards that, depending on your build, don't really mesh. They work in a Titamon build, sort of, but we're just here because he is a level 4 with Rush. Okay, 2 cost Evo. If we need to Evo him, in worst case situations, we can do that. Say you have one in hand and you bring back a level 4 from trash. You can Digivolve this guy for 1, and now he has Rush and still swing. So. Absolutely loving this thing. 3 of, just because I feel like a 2 of is fine, but then I was like, well, what do I do with this 1 other? I guess I might as well bump it up to 3. So I bumped him up to 3 of just because I had 1 extra leftover level 4 that I needed to throw somewhere. So he went ahead and grabbed it. So yeah, just multiple ways to cheat him out in this deck, as well as tons of other decks. We'll get to that though. Next up, we got our level 5s here. We got Lady Devimon, and again, so we're good old-fashioned Lady Devimon. We love the trigger draw 2, trash 2. With her Evo, it ends up being a draw 3, trash 2. All about milling cards, getting the exact hand you need. You need options in hand to guarantee that when you go into Plutomon, you can use his ability. Also, when you Digivolve Plutomon on top of her and you get to start playing options for free, you get to trigger her Inheritable, which is really nice. The goal of the deck here is to play options, right, and play them with Plutomon for free. So when we working in a purple deck that likes to play a lot of options, Lady Devimon's Inheritable just becomes all that much better. Just being able to pop any kind of level 3 is really good. Bonds, Gabumon, tons of level 3s in those decks, okay? It's like a level 3 blue Rush deck in a way, okay? So being able to just clear the field off is super important there. In the Jesmon matchup, being able to pop like the Blanc, popping Blanc is super important because that turns off the sister mons from having blocker. So great stuff there. Loving Lady Devimon. Also can pop Lucymon. So just throwing that out there. Just pop Lucymon for free. Next we got Skull Greymon. This is the new one from BT6 here. He's just a really interesting... He's kind of like a flex spot in a way. He is a 3-cost Evo level 5, which, is... okay, it's not the worst. It's pretty average. He has a kind of neat win attacking ability if you can trash 1 card in your hand to have him gain 3,000. So if there's something on field that you can swing over, if you have that buff, go for it. You can trigger your Sunomons to get that free draw. So that's pretty cool. But really, it's about this neat effect of when you trash this card from your hand using one of your effects, you may place it under one of your purple Digimon at the bottom of its Digivolution cards. So that's just pretty wicked, honestly. Just being able to throw this guy underneath, and it gives him retaliation. You're always drawing and discarding in this deck. I mean, we talked about Lady Devimon here doing it. We talked about our Labramons doing it. Our Gabumons when attacking were doing it. So that way we can trigger these Sunomons, right? And we're just trying to trigger the Sunomon a whole lot. And this is just a great pitch target. Especially if you already got a level 5 in hand, yeah, go ahead and just toss this guy away and just slap him underneath something, give it retaliation. There's some crazy cool plays you can do with that. As like triggering your Gabumons when attacking. Draw one, then trash one. Trash that Skull Greymon there, immediately slap it underneath that attacking Digimon, give it retaliation as it crashes into something. Like, what a neat combo that you can do. Very, very cool stuff. Also, kind of just a side note that I found kind of interesting. If they're playing like security control and they're using the D-Digivolve Black card, and it D-Digivolves it all the way past the baby and back into the Skull Greymon, the Skull Greymon dodges that. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. I don't think anyone's playing that card in security control anymore, but it was still really interesting. And then the last two was just kind of another flex spot here with the Skull Mara. You could just bump Skull Greymon up to 4 if you want. I just felt like I prefer never to really Digivolve with this guy. It wasn't exactly ideal. It was okay, but just something a little bit different for some alternative plays. I went with a 2 Evo cost vanilla. In addition, the 5 play cost does come up. I've been in plenty of games where I just slam down a level 5 and then follow up turn, Digivolve on top of it, and then just off to the races doing whatever I've got to do. 6,000 DP is still fine. We're still dodging everything that we need to dodge, so he's not going to get deleted too easily if you have to leave him out there for a turn. So just a 2 of on the Skull Maramon. Alright, next we get into the real bread and butter of this deck. So first up we have Plutomon here of when Digivolving, trigger, draw 2. Then you may use a purple option card with a memory cost of 6 or less in your hand without paying its memory cost. And again, don't forget your draw for the Evo. So essentially you're drawing 3 cards with this effect, and then there's no discarding. You're just drawing those cards, and that's it. And then you get to pick out of your whole hand a 6 cost or less option to play for free. So you don't have to draw it off of those 3. It can be already in your hand, which is great. So again, 4 Evo cost with the Wizardmon. You're going to play that option for free, gain that memory back off the Wizardmon. So essentially this guy turns into a 3 cost Evo. 12,000 DP is very respectable for megas these days. Tons and tons of megas are 11,000. So if you're hitting those megas in security, you're just going to run over most of them. So he's going to be hitting in security pretty hard, pretty easily. Not too much to have to worry about there. So really, really liking the combos that you can do. And we'll get into all the different options that we have with this guy that really synergizes with what we're doing in the deck. And then my other 2 was Tactimon here, and this was again kind of another flex spot of whatever mega you wanted to play. I do have a variation that I'll show you at the end as another alternative here, but Tactimon is just such a good generic mega purple. Okay, he was just used by himself there for a while. Tactimon decks in BT5 was kind of popular. He's just solid. He just fits. If he doesn't work against any strategies, he doesn't necessarily work for any strategies. He's just a good, generic, solid mega. Better than like vanillas, okay? You get the old 2 cost, 12,000 DP megas. He's better than those. He's got some really cool abilities here, and it's all when attacking. So, especially if you attack multiple times in one turn, if you're using certain cards to allow him to unsuspend and attack again, you can trigger these effects multiple times, which is really, really busted. But activate one of these effects below. If you have no other Digimon in play, activate all of the effects below instead. You can gain 1 memory, which is okay. I mean, it can be relative as you're trying to choke your opponent out or anything like that. This Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP for the turn. If you're swinging into security, you don't need to activate any of these other effects. And you just want to play it safe, bump yourself up to 13,000. 13,000, you're clearing pretty much everything formidable that's going to be in security for the most part. And then the last one, delete up to 3 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. Again, specifically level 3 Digimon. There's nothing about power levels in here at all. So just everything we talked about with Lady Devimon being able to pop for free, Tactimon can pop 3 of those things for free. So again, Bonds, Gabumon, kind of a Rush Blue Rookie Rush deck there, being able to pop most of their field in one swing. That's pretty awesome. I'm really, really digging it. Again, you can also pop the Blancs. So if you're trying to swing over a Jesmon or crash into a Jesmon, and they've got like a bunch of Blancs out there, go ahead and pop 3 Blancs in one go if it really calls for it. Really, really just cool stuff with Tactimon. Really generic. I'm really, really digging him. And then next we got Zwart, and again, another flex spot of whatever level 7 you want to go with. At first, I thought about Millenniumon just for that generic removal. It dodges like the stuff that can't be deleted, like the Blitz Omnimon that can, bounce a level 6 to trash to keep himself alive. Millenniumon dodges all that stuff and just puts it to the bottom of the deck, which is really nice. Also, he's really difficult to kill. He goes to the trash, he just comes right back. But Zwart, the more I thought about it, typically whenever I go Millenniumon, I'm trying to remove a threat off the field so I don't die, right? I'm trying to kill some sort of Mega so that way I don't lose on the next turn. I'm still usually passing my turn at a 6 Evo cost. But with Zwart, I can just bring back multiple blockers or just one blocker if that's all I need and then something else. I think he's just a little bit more generically useful. Yeah, he has when attacking that he can delete something. It's a little more specific though. It's not that as good of a removal as Millenniumon is, of course. 15,000 DP though, he's swinging over a lot of like almost everything that's in the meta. At least on your own turn, he's gonna be swinging over most everything. So I think he's just a little bit more generically useful than Millenniumon is, particularly in this kind of setup, as well as if your opponent just ever gives you that memory to go into this guy and keep it on your turn, you can bring out like 2 of the Gin Kakumons with Rush. That's really good. Or if you like I said earlier, if you have 1 in your hand and you've only got the 1 in trash, bring 1 in the trash and then bring back another level 4 and digivolve this guy on top of it for 1 Evo, and then that turns that other one that you just brought out of trash into a Rush. So he's a little more generically useful, I think, in this particular build and strategy. Next, we're going to look at our options here. First, we got Hell's Gate, which is our 6-cost removal. Delete one of your opponent's level 6 or higher Digimon. Trump Sword is more generic. It's just anything that's unsuspended you can delete. Whereas this, it has to be level 6 or higher Digimon. It's 1 less, but mainly typically when you're using cards like that, removal, it's on a level 6 or higher. Most of the time you're not going to waste a high cost option like that on a 5 or less. So Hell's Gate just kind of makes sense to me. Two of, again, he is limited to only level 6 or higher. And again, in this format, it could be an issue if you're going against like a Bonds Gabumon deck. You're never going to have a target just sitting out there. More than likely, the Bonds Gabumon is going to get deleted at the end of the turn. So you won't get to use this guy as much. However, the security effect is kind of nice. You get to add it to the owner's hand. It would have been really, really nice if it activated in security, but can't win them all. So just a 2 of, just to draw in that 1 for the time when the time is right. Go ahead and use it. If you need to use it for free off of Plutomon, you're good to go. Next this is an either or for me. First up, we have the new card Underworld's Call. This was in BT6. Security, it activates the main effect, which is when you trash this card in your hand using one of your effects, draw 1. So it replaces itself, which is really cool. So all your draw 1, trash 1s, you trash this, and it just turns your draw cards into even better draw cards. So that's pretty neat as just a random discard fodder. Same for like the Skull Greymon kind of concept here. But the main effect here is you may play 1 purple level 4 or lower Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory cost. Can you guess what level 4 I'm going to talk about? Yeah, Genkakumon. We're playing Genkakumon again for free. So you go Plutomon here, play Underworld's Call, activate your Wizardmon, gain you a memory back. You're at 0 memory. You've got your Plutomon out. and you just activated this card, so you got Genkakumon out on field with Rush. Now you got your Plutomon swinging, you got your Genkakumon swinging. You know, you're feeling really, really good for where you're at for those free Plutomon plays here. But there's also argument for a Necrophobia here, and its main play 1 level 5 purple Digimon from your trash without paying its memory cost. No on-play effects. But again, if you're playing it for free, then the 4 and 5 shouldn't really matter. The play cost isn't going to matter as much. This just opens up for a little bit more room. You can bring back a level 5 instead. If you've got a Mega that you need a Digivolve on top of, bring back a level 5 with the Necrophobia instead. Or you can still, it's still a, is it? Okay, it is an exact level 5. I guess I missed that earlier. It's not level 5 or lower. It is exactly level 5. So maybe then the Underworld's Call probably is the better choice then, because this is level 4 or lower. So you get multiple things to choose from. It's a lot easier to have level 4s and level 3s in trash, especially earlier into the match it is. Necrophobia can be more live late game, mid to late game, once you've got that level 5 in there to actually trigger this. So Underworld's Call it's all about bringing back the Genkakumon anyways, so might as well just run this because, at least you get that extra little discard effect if the situation calls for where you really need to dig deep. It's a good discard target for you. And then we got our new memory boost cards here. I did want to add in the BT6 one here to just kind of talk about a little bit. But first we got the purple one, and this is the reveal top 4, add a purple Digimon card among them to your hand, place some random cards on the bottom of the deck, and it's a delay, gain 2 memory. Whereas Glaive here is return 1 purple Digimon card from your trash to your hand, then place this card in the battle area. So they're very, very similar. I just like the purple one a little bit better because it's going to help me dig deep for what I'm searching for. Glaive is still very cool. It's only a little bit more useful like mid to late game after you've had some bad things happen where you've lost your megas or whatever. You're trying to get back something, whereas this is a little more proactive and this is a little more reactive. I'm all about being proactive in a lot of my builds, so the purple memory boost definitely feels like the better choice. And then lastly, we have our Tamers here. And again, this is kind of just it could be an either or you could go 2 Matt, 1 Sora, and Mimi. So Matt, of course, is our good old classic memory fixer. I think the memory fixer is super important to have because your opponent can't play around a memory fixer like they can with these guys. And this one's a little bit easier to play around, so I think the Matt being at a 2 of is very important because you need to be at 3 memory to be able to go Plutomon with Wizardmon to bring you back to 0. You have to be at 3 memory at the start of your turn. This can do it potentially, but not a guaranteed. This is a guaranteed, so I'm all about the guarantees. This one is the start of your turn. If your opponent doesn't have a level 4 or lower Digimon in play, gain 2 memory. Your turn, when one of your purple Digimon attacks, you may suspend this Tamer to trigger draw 1, trash 1. So this, again, turns on your Sunomon baby. So it actually works really great with the deck. Wow, words. So very, very cool stuff here. Absolutely digging this strategy. All right, and then there's a quick zoom out of the overall deck. Just to change a few things up here. We're dropping the Necrophobia and bumping up the Underworld's Call to 2. We're also going to drop the Glaive memory boost and bumping up the purple memory boost. And then we've got 1 card left. Of course, we want the Matt at 2. You can argue dropping the Sora and Mimi. Sora and Mimi. You can bump any of these guys up to 3 if you want. If you want to bump the purple memory boost up, to help you dig deeper, a little bit more consistency. You can leave it in, whichever you prefer, and then that's going to do it for that build. Now, I do have an alternate build that I do want to show you just as a neat, different way to play it. And this is going to be a Chaos Gallantmon build that I really, really liked. It's a lot more control heavy than the necessarily with the Genkakumon. It was all about getting Genkakumon out and rushing. Now, this can do that, but not as easily, because we're adding in the Chaos Gallantmon, we're adding in the Black War Groundmon instead of our vanilla, and then we're adding in the Guilmon here instead of our Sukaimon. So Guilmon here with the Black War Groundmon, you're going to Digiburst away all your inheritables because Chaos Gallantmon isn't going to get any value off of Wizardmon. So you can argue Digibursting away with the Black War Groundmon to bring back the Guilmon, and then go into the Chaos Gallant. Again, you're going to delete one of your other Digimon to delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower. So deleting the Guilmon, will gain you that memory back. Again, keeping it on your turn. So all these really cool 4-cost Evos are all having these really cool ways of keeping it on your turn with their abilities, and I'm really liking that. And so again, this is a little bit more control focused with the Chaos Gallantmon. So instead, on our last option, instead of going to bring back our level 4s here, I went with either Deathclaw or Heat Viper. Normally, I'd be all for Deathclaw. It's the new and improved version of Heat Viper. Delete one of your Digimon to delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. 1 cost, super cheap, very, very, very affordable card. But in a Plutomon deck where I get to play options for free, I kind of like looking at the Heat Viper. It's kind of the same thing, but you get to delete 2 of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. So you get a little bit more value out of Heat Viper here when you're playing it for free. So if you're playing it for free, then it shouldn't matter. Deathclaw has a better security effect, though. It actually triggers insecurity of delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower, whereas Heat Viper just adds to hand. So it's just a bit of a trade-off. I think that Deathclaw is still probably the better of the two. It's only a 1 cost, though, so you don't get as much value out of the Plutomon playing it for free. But again, control is really nice. And you can go Deathclaw to pop the Guilmon. So say you don't have the Wizardmon underneath your Plutomon. You go Plutomon, play the Deathclaw for free, delete your Guilmon that could be on field instead of the Wizardmon, so you can get more value out of the Black War Groundmon here. So Digiburst away if you don't have the Wizardmon underneath. Digiburst it away because you don't need those inheritables. Bring back the Guilmon. Go Plutomon on top of the Black War Groundmon to then play the Deathclaw. So you still get the same exact outcome of 4 Evo cost, gain 1 back, keeping it on your turn. You just get to do it a different way. And so I thought, that's a really neat way, alternative, to do the same thing. It just adds the same exact level of power that we had before, and then a little bit more, because we still got the same number of 4 Wizardmons. You've still got all the other options in here. So we're still doing that same exact stuff with Plutomon, with also the Guilmon and the Black War Groundmon to increase the chances of being able to trigger these kind of things. So just a neat little alternative to in place of the previous one. So whichever one you kind of prefer, a little more aggro versus a little bit more control. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you would, please like the video and subscribe. Just a little bit of help goes a super long ways. It helps the channel out tremendously, gets my videos out there, gets them seen. And if you really, really want to support the channel, check out the links in the description below. I'll have a link for my Patreon, which is displayed right here. You can get access to my Discord server that I have, as well as you can get the memory markers that we've had. These are just a few of my favorites from the past that we've had. The current one, Impmon's baby, as well as Gabumon's baby as well, Sunomon and Yamon. These guys are super adorable. I definitely love them so much. And every month a new one changes out, so make sure you check that out. As well as we have our new playmats. This is why I recreated this video. It's because our playmats are here finally, and they are super cool. I alternate between the black and white every single month for whoever wants to support this tier, as well as I have a tier just higher than that, so that way you don't also have to lose out on a memory marker. You can get both the memory marker and the playmat just in case you want both. Super awesome support from everyone that has supported in the past and who will support in the future. You guys are awesome. Also, if you want to check out my merch, my Teespring link is in the description below for that. We've got, the shirts that I wear on the channel that has the logo across. I love when I see people representing my merch in public. It is like one of the coolest feelings I've ever had in my entire life. Very, very awesome. As well as phone cases for you people that love Digimon like so much like I do. A friend of mine custom made all these to fit these specific phone cases themselves. So the prices are a little bit higher just because I have to pay her back, as well as make a little tiny bit of profit because of how much, unfortunately, they take for their cut for Teespring. But like I said, if you can't do any of that, please just like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every time we hit a new mile marker for subscriptions, I give out free merch of all different types. 2000K, I think we're doing one of the playmat giveaways. So definitely be subscribed and ready for when that comes.